All right, on to question 10. So 10A, explain how you can encourage team and individual team members to participate in and to take responsibility for the team's operational objectives. So you need to write about 100 words. So if we go to the ebook and we go to 3.1, 3.1 is encourage team members to take responsibility. Makes sense? Gonna let me go there. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit, so without the positive participation of all members, teams will not be as successful as they could be. If an individual is not involved in the team's activity, they cannot reach their full potential and neither can the team. So I would put maybe something like that in to lead into the question. And then how do you encourage your team members to participate? So these are a lot of different examples. So you don't need to pick all of these. I would maybe just pick 3. So maybe develop a sense of ownership, include all team members in the process of problem solving, encourage all members to be leaders by adopting an approach, make sure they're involve the team in activities. There's lots of different ones there, but I would just choose 3 of those. And that's encouraging them to participate. So that's 10A. Then 10B, how will you communicate the team operational objectives and the team's performance progress? And that's in section 1.2.2. So I think we've done a similar question to this already, but I guess we'll keep doing that. Let's check that there's nothing down here. No, I don't think there's anything in there. No. All right, so we'll go back up to 1.2.2 then. What's that? 3.2. So yeah, it's a little bit, the same, unfortunately, but that's okay. We can do that. We can get around that. So this is just going back to like the SMART goals and the KPIs. So maybe measuring success in business is a good place to start. And this is to make sure that everyone's being updated on the progress of the project. So strategic plans, operational plans, business objectives, so those things. And then you can go into more detail down here about how you would do that. So maybe using GOATs effectively, which is goal, objective, aim, target. There's also one called WOOP. There's all sorts of ones really. TAA, task, actions, activities, and then you could also talk about KPIs. And then actually within the team celebrating when someone has reached their key performance indicator and reached their target. I think that's very important as well. Or you could just go down to this one here as well. I think that's the main ones for that. So yeah, it doesn't have to be too long. And then 10C, you have been leading your team well and the result to date is promising. You have, however, noted that the team members tasked with the responsibility of developing the customer surveys have not yet sent you a draft and it's the last week of May. So in our action plan in the market research plan, it was due by the end of May. So if you haven't seen a draft yet, that's not a very good indication. So you have just discussed this problem with the team members and it has been identified that they have had no support or training in developing an effective survey. So what could you do to get the team on track? Let's go to section 3.2.1. 3.2.1. Okay. Addressing performance issues. So I don't want you to put all of this stuff in there, and I want you to make it specific to the scenario. So we've already addressed that it's a whole team issue. All of them feel that way. So we need to understand what they actually need to know. So both performance and processes should be monitored. Okay. These issues need to be dealt with immediately. You can Consider following the steps of problem solving in section 2.4. So sorry, we'll go back up to there then. Okay. So it might be that you need to consult back to this diagram here and then put some kind of supports in place to help help your team. I'm just trying to find like this. Okay, I think the best way to go about it is maybe just to talk about the fact that if they've identified that they don't know enough, then maybe you need to put a training session in place for them so that they know they're supported and they're getting help as well to achieve their objectives. So it might be that they go to some kind of seminar or workshop or something to learn how to do that. And that could be like the organization bringing like a consultant in and teaching them that way. Or it could be that you find someone more experienced in the group, or maybe has to be yourself as the head of marketing to help them to know what they need to do, or give them the resources so that they're able to do it better. 10D, considering the problem you are managing in question 3, how can you be an effective role model? So that's in section 3.3 on page 48. Yep. Okay. So we're looking for role model. So an effective team requires strong supportive leadership. Need to demonstrate the important values in their own behavior. So this is all about being a role model. So that might include these things here. So you could just pick a few of those out. I don't copy and paste all of them in, just a few. Maybe it could also be these things here as well. But again, you don't need to put all of them in. Team facilitators. So this isn't like you tell the team exactly what to do and how they need to do it. This is more facilitating the team to work together and solve problems themselves, which in the long run, that's a lot better than telling them exactly what to do. So again, these dot points here are really good ways of being a role model as well. Just make sure that you're only picking a few out. You don't need to write a whole heap for 10D. Then 10E, explain how the leader's behavior and actions impact the organization's overall image and reputation. So that's going back to that same section we were just in. And 3.3.1. So leaders who facilitate the successful operation of their teams will be creating a positive impression of the organization. So people want to work for businesses that are well run and that create opportunities for their people. So happy staff tell others, and then that just like word of mouth spreads. So we need our teams and people to be thinking of the big picture and how our behaviors affect the organization both internally and externally. So really just these sections here is all you need for 10E to answer the question appropriately, but please put it in your own words. Then we've got 11A. So in this one, we're talking about how to develop an effective survey. So quantify required data. So for this one, how should your questions be developed? So how can you develop good survey questions? So let's go, sorry, not back into the Teams ebook. We're going into the Plan Market Research ebook. And we want to go up to 3.1. Okay, so developing questions. So here are some shoulds. So you can just copy those dot points straight into the top box here. And then what should your questions not have? That section is also in 3.1. So you can copy those in as well. You don't need all of them, just maybe pick out the main ones. That makes sense. Provide a minimum of 3 different question types. So if you scroll down to here, there's a few different question types. So we've got open-ended questions, so they actually write their own response. Maybe multiple choice, where the customer just circles their answer. So like maybe how many times do you online shop per week and then have like ranges that they circle. Dichotomous questions, they're like an extreme form of multi-choice questions. There's only two choices often. So like yes or no, you usually pay cash or credit, so there's just two possible answers. Closed questions, these are asking respondents to make one or more choices from lists of possible responses, so maybe date of birth or gender. And then structured questions, that's using a rating scale. So you can put those into this section here. Now this question, document a minimum of 2 questions you may include in the survey, or you will include in the survey. You need to come up with 2 questions. So this is totally going to depend on what your marketing opportunity is. But if you want to go like through the online store, it could be how often do you online shop per week or per month or something, and then you could say 5 times, 3 times, 2 times, once a week, and then maybe never. And then they just circle it. The other one you could do is, would you like to see an online store at whatever your department store is called? And then all they have to circle is yes or no. So that would be one of those dichotomous questions. So just try to do 2 different types of questions there. That was more multi-choice, and then this one was dichotomous. But you can do whichever ones you want. Just make it, just make sure that it's related to your marketing opportunity. And then the last question for 11A is explain the various methods of designing samples. How would you choose a sample to deliver survey? So this is in section 3.6.1. Oops, wrong one. Go. 3.6.1. Okay. So this is sampling, like who are we going to actually get to do this survey? So there's 2 different types. So there's probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So definitely put that in there. Now, probability sampling consists of just like maybe being drawn out as a lotto, maybe a systematic sampling. There's not like an equal chance that someone's there. The population is divided into a strata, and a random sample is done in each of those stratum. But we're not going to be using probability because we don't want it to be a lotto. We want to target the customers that are already using the department store. So we would want the non-probability sampling. So this could be like judgment sampling, because when a knowledgeable person selects sample members that they believe are appropriate. So that could be only surveying people that come into the store, for instance. That's also pretty similar to the convenience sampling. So if they come into the store, that's based on their location. Quota sampling is similar to the stratified, whereby an appropriate number in each stratum is selected. So not so relevant. And then the last one is snowball sampling, the form of judgmental sampling that's very appropriate when it is necessary to reach small specialized populations. So that could be 1 too. So definitely put in the section down the bottom here that non-probability sampling would be used because we only really want to survey current customers, and either judgment sampling, convenience sampling, or snowball sampling would be used. So we might leave it there, and I'll come back and do 11B in the next video.